What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode. It is your host, Daniel. We are on Edenize, Stewards of Edin. Before we get into today's content, I do want to mention that I do have a Patreon where you can support for $1 per month. And that helps me keep running this channel as well as supports any future charity work that I might want to be doing here in the next 6 months to a year. Hopefully I can get to it sooner, but at the very least, everything that you do on Patreon would help me support to make more videos like this and improve also the quality of videos like this. So also the second way that you can support is by going to thewordwoven.com, which is my personal hoodie company, where we make extremely high quality, high GSM, 420 GSM, 100% organic cotton hoodies that have scriptures on the back. So it is my way of making a hoodie company that is a billboard for God's word, as well as if you guys go and you support that through that way, it also helps keep this channel running, as well as supporting any future charity work that I might be doing here in the near future. So with that being said, before I get started, I do want to say that the going rate for these hoodies for other companies, they're charging close to $200. I'm charging a very reasonable $50. I'm transparent and honest. I don't really care to tell you guys, but my margins on these are $20. Okay, so I pay for $30 to get them printed, and I get $20 if you buy them. Most people are buying these things for $30 and they're charging $200. So with that being said, I don't think it's too unreasonable to charge $20. Or at least charge $50 so that I can get a $20 margin so that I can promote this channel, as well as, like I said, hopefully promote some charity work that I'm going to be doing here in the near future. So with that being said, I just appreciate any support you guys give, whether it's for the hoodies or for the Patreon, or even if it's just a super thanks in the comments, which by the time that this video drops, there probably won't be any super thanks, because you have to be, I think you have to have like 500 subscribers or something like that, and I doubt that I'll have that by the time this comes out. But if I do and you want to support with a super thanks, I would super appreciate it. So with that being said, let's get into today's topic, which is rewilding. The benefits of rewilding. Balancing, excuse me, I went too far in my notes here. Rewilding is a proponent of balancing the ecological systems. As a believer in the beauty of Jehovah's creation, I see rewilding as a way to restore natural beauty and harmony that has been disrupted. The reintroduction of apex predators in particular plays a crucial role in this process and is very important. The number one reason why this is important is called trophic cascades, as well as ecosystem regulation. An example of trophic cascade we will get into in a minute, but by introducing apex predators such as wolves, cats, or bears, that they regulate the prey population, preventing overgrazing and allowing vegetation to flourish. This in turn benefits a wide range of species. The presence of apex predators can trigger trophic cascades, leading to increased biodiversity and ecosystem resilience. That is from the Science Journal in a heading called Trophic Downgrading of Planet Earth. So I highly recommend you guys check that one out. The most famous example of trophic cascades is the introduction of wolves into Yellowstone National Park. Their return led to changes in elk behavior, which allowed riparian vegetation to recover, which benefited beavers, fish, and other species. So I really want to break this down and pull away from my notes here for a second. When they reintroduce wolves into Yellowstone, how does this affect everything? Because a lot of people think, oh, that just means that they're killing elk, which means that there's less elk to eat. No, that's not what's going on. What's going on is it reignites the fear drive in the elk, which means when there is not an apex predator present, elk will typically put their head down and they will eat and they will eat and they will eat. And they'll eat everything. And they typically do this on riverbanks, because why not eat my food near a source of water? And so what that ends up doing is it weakens the actual riverbanks, which causes faster erosion of the bank itself, which then can muddy up the water, which then can reduce the photosynthesis in the algae and the plant life, which then reduces the fish life. However, what is the reverse? If you reintroduce these wolves, not only will elk regulate themselves by moving and continually to migrate and graze different pastures, that way a predator doesn't catch onto their scent for too long, but they also do this behavior where they will look up ever so often. And you'd be shocked at just how that little looking up, once a minute through a herd of 100 elk can really help the vegetation to recover, especially when they are moving along rather quickly because they don't want to become prey. This, once again, becomes enhanced once you have an actual wolf there, which gives way to a chase, which then creates a stampeding effect, which the stampeding effect is a great way to expose the soil, which allows new seeds to then take root and benefits the pastures and the prairies in that way. It allows the riverbanks to be stronger, which slows down water erosion, which increases river meandering, which is great for the beaver so that they can build more dams, and it's great for the trout and the salmon and all of the other fish that are going to be benefiting from the stronger riverbanks and the cleaner water, as well as the beaver dams. Another way that this affects is it actually increases the population of fish, which then increases your population of bears and eagles. Eagles and bears are well known, specifically brown bears, to they love fishing as well as eagles. And so increasing these population of fish is a great way to do that. And the last benefit that I personally know of is these banks. These banks will actually grow berries. When you don't have a predator around, the elk will kill the saplings before these bushes have any chance to take root. You don't get berries, and those berries reduce the black bear population and the songbird population, as well as the pollinator population, excuse me. And so you can see how just by introducing wolves, we have talked about benefits for elk themselves, for brown bear, black bear, eagle, beaver, fish, and birds. Just by reintroducing, and the plants themselves and the river system itself. So just by introducing wolves, how amazing these trophic cascades, this snowball effect that the ecosystem actually harmonizes. The second principle, or the second benefit, is increased biodiversity. By controlling prey populations, apex predators create space. If you want to think about it in terms of like economics, it creates space in the market for a smaller local business or a smaller animal species to come in and take root, which obviously increases the resilience and helps the ecosystem fight things such as disease, climate change. And it also has been proven that ecosystems that have apex predators are much better at fighting invasive species. So the third is carbon sequestration, carbon sequestration. There we go. Okay. That's a word that I cannot say that fast. Okay. The recovery of vegetation facilitated by apex predators leads to increased carbon sequestration, helping mitigate climate change. So what even does that mean? Prairies, specifically the tall grass, stores a lot of carbon in the soil as well as in their roots. And so if you are cutting down and deforesting these trees, people used to think that now there's not trees breathing. That's not just all that's happening. When you cut down the tree and that tree decays, all of that carbon gets released, which that's supposed to happen in a slow and controlled way, but in a mass way, or in a mass deforestation that is not natural. All of that carbon is not supposed to be released at the same time, and it's just not a natural process. In the reverse, if you restore apex predators and allow this vegetation to take root, it will start to store that carbon back into the ground and into its roots, which is just better for the ecosystem and it's better for the soil. So when vegetation is allowed to grow freely, it captures more carbon from the atmosphere. There is a great article in the Nature Climate Change called Predator-Mediated Trophic Cascades and Their Impact on Carbon Storage in Terrestrial Ecosystems. Highly recommend it. The fourth benefit is disease regulation. Apex predators help regulate disease outbreaks by targeting weak or sick individuals in their prey populations. This natural selection process helps maintain the overall health of prey populations. So, in a older video where we were talking about the benefits of vegetarianism, and I mentioned that if you are going to choose to eat meat, the most responsible way to do that is by hunting. This is where hunting, human hunting, and the hunting, that God intended, that this is the difference. Some people think that humans do the same thing as wolves do. No. Humans take out the strongest and the healthiest elk in the population. Wolves take out the sick and the weak. So that is the difference in why I personally am a vegetarian. Obviously, there's a ton of other reasons, but specifically on this topic of hunter versus vegetarian, you might think that you are playing the role of the wolf when you are not. Unless you can sniff out a disease or sniff out a weak elk and you are shooting and killing and eating that elk, you are not doing the job of the wolf. And so that is why wolves are so important, is their ability to sniff out weak and diseased individuals and get them out of the population. 5. Restoration of natural processes. Rewilding aims to restore natural processes such as migration patterns and nutrient cycling, which have been disrupted by human activity. Apex predators play a vital role in these processes, helping to create a more balanced and self-regulating ecosystem. Restoring natural migration patterns help restore natural fertilizer dispersal, which helps plant life flourish. Not going to go too deep into this one, but obviously, if massive herds of animals are moving, they're tilling the soil in a way that's natural and not the way that us humans till the soil. The way that we till the soil oftentimes bleeds the nutrients, but the way that the hooves of the elk, deer, and bison, the way that they till the soil, it actually enriches the environment, because it oftentimes we till and then immediately start to try to extract nutrients from the soil, whereas when they till the soil, they allow rain to sit in those puddles, and they create these tiny little reservoirs for microorganisms and bacteria to break down organic matter, and then they're also dropping their dung or poop, which then also spreads different seeds that they're eating and different nutrients that their poop is putting back into the soil. So yeah, that is another benefit to restoring these wildlife habitats to the way that they are. 6 is ecosystem resilience. A healthy ecosystem complete with apex predators is more resilient to environmental changes. The resilience is crucial in the face of climate change and other environmental challenges, especially natural disasters. I personally don't think that natural disasters are supposed to be as powerful and as strong as they currently are. I could be wrong in that. Obviously, I'm humble enough to admit that I don't know everything. I'm not a meteorologist. But something about the more recent natural disasters of late tells me that they're not supposed to be like that. Specifically, if you want to study 2 of the greatest natural disasters that are proven to be human caused, look up the Dust Bowl of the Great Plains in America, or also look up the flooding of the Yellow River in China. That was entirely done. If you look up, in fact, the Yellow River flood is the most deadly flood in human history, I believe, if I'm quoting off the top of my brain, but 2 million people died, I believe. It was the most horrific flood that's ever happened, and unfortunately, it was all human beings' fault for their lack of knowledge and their lack of stewardship. So, in essence, rewilding and reintroduction of apex predators is about restoring the natural balance that has been lost. It's about recognizing the interconnectedness of all living things. Everything is connected. Each ecosystem is even connected. They need each other. The Mississippi-Missouri River Basin stretches all the way from Colorado to North Carolina and everything in between. And so every single state, every single natural park that is in that specific river basin, it's all connected. They all affect each other. They all feed each other. Likewise for everything west of the Rocky Mountains and the Sierra Nevada divide, as well as the Appalachian divide, the Atlantic coast. So all of these things are important. They're interconnected, and this is why we need corridors in order to reestablish the migrations and allow for these nutrients to pass along in a way that's not clogging the Earth's pores up. So yeah, with that being said, I will be trying to hopefully cite some of the resources down in the description once this video goes live. Thank you for watching. If you want to support me on Patreon, it's Daniel McCormick. Or if you want to support me by getting a phenomenal hoodie and be a billboard for God's Word, go to thewordwoven.com. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys.